Now, broadcasting from deep within your stepmom's basement, it's the Plex podcast.
In this world, cesspool of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Piss-Drunk fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. I don't wanna hear it. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in the blood, letting cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like cats, read and gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public lamented. Conquer the body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the bloody spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do this show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/EchoPlexMedia. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. You click the support link at the top of the website and you can find your favorite way to do so. By the time this episode drops on the podcast feed, there should be new Pride merch out at eplex.store. Anyway, I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr, and hopefully my voice will last for the entire show. This is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't the cops. Don't hate the cops. Thank your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
Well, sometimes I find a story that you just got to put first. A woman named Mallory Patrice Straight was originally arrested for abuse of a corpse on December 19th of 2024. She was locked in jail for 5 months, essentially, for having a miscarriage. During the process, the judge gave custody of the fetus to an abortion group who named the fetus Mary, gave it a public funeral. All did this without Miss Straight's permission. She was released after medical examiner finally realized its report that determined she had indeed miscarried and that the fetus died in utero. And the DA's office had said there was no direct evidence that she tried to flush anything. And here's a local news hit about that, which is, happy Sunday.
A warning before this next story. Now, some of the details are disturbing. We're talking about a woman who was accused of abusing a corpse after a fetus was found in a Whataburger toilet. Tonight, we've learned the Bexar County District Attorney's Office has thrown out that charge against Mallory Patrice Straight. According to the motion to dismiss, the DA's office found evidence suggesting this was a miscarriage, not a live birth, and there is no evidence to suggest there was criminal wrongdoing in that Whataburger restroom. You can read more details about the story right now on ksat.com.
So also, obviously, this is a story about the state of the healthcare system in our country, too, because having a miscarriage is like a fairly traumatic event, and having it in your own bathroom, a public place bathroom, this should have happened at a medical facility. My guess here is one of two things. One, a homegirl was poor. I don't know. Maybe homegirl had drug problems. Homegirl had no medical insurance. Homegirl had maybe had bad experiences with the medical system previously. Or maybe homegirl was politically aware of what was going on and was like, I ain't telling nobody. I ain't telling nobody about this. And, to add insult to injury, like I said before we ran the story, there's some anti-abortion group, had a public funeral for this woman's miscarried fetus and named it Mary, while the fucking lady was in jail for a crime she didn't commit. This is what everybody said was going to happen if the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, right? Isn't this is what everybody said was going to happen? not this specifically. Who could have imagined the chain of events here? But this is the kind of shit people said was going to happen. People were going to end up in jail for having miscarriages. And, you know, in this case, again, like, who knows why she didn't go to the hospital? She might have not gone to the hospital because she was afraid, because Roe versus Wade got overturned and she was in Texas. But, like, she had a miscarriage. I'm sure she didn't enjoy the, right? I'm sure she wasn't like, hooray, miscarriage. Like, nobody, oh, God. Oh, what a horrible fucking story. And the fucked up part is that I couldn't find a local news hit that, like, spent, you know, we don't like to run long clips here on Sunday, but it would have been nice to maybe see, I don't know, fucking a couple minutes also explaining the other shit the lady went through, like, in addition to this. But yeah, this isn't great, friends. This is like not. This is why you. This is why properly regulating things, even if you don't like them, and letting people like have their freedom is better, because then a baby doesn't end up in a burger joint's fucking toilet. Or I'm sorry, a miscarried fetus. I didn't, you know. Sorry about that. Miscarried fetuses don't end up, because then also like the Whataburger staff, like, come on. I mean, like, I don't know, the staff at the restaurant, like, I think everybody involved in this story, like, I'm sorry, like, that is not what you, like, I'm sure the staff at the restaurant were like fine, compassionate people or whatever, but imagine this, if you're like going to clean the bathroom. Like, this whole thing is fucked up, and it's all a result of like restricting access to care for women who are pregnant, or for people who are pregnant. This isn't going to get better. I mean, this isn't getting better. It's not going to get worse, I don't think, but how could it? But now we got Nancy Mace versus her ex-fiance during a congressional hearing. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. She's just out here fucking talking shit on her former fiance. Check this out. Nancy Mace is unwell.
Starting on November 5th, 2023, I discovered my former fiance, Patrick Bryant, had filmed women without their knowledge, without their permission, and without their consent. He filmed rape, too. He appeared to catalog his tapes and footage and images and photos in the way that he saved the files. And he stored these images, photos, and videos for years. This isn't just creepy, it's criminal, but only under weak state laws. In South Carolina, first-time voyeurs face a misdemeanor and a small $500 fine. That's not justice, that is betrayal. Real men guard a woman's privacy, but predators harvest it.
Well, yeah, I didn't know anything about this story because I was like busy this week. I was busy getting ready for something all week this week, and like, this is wild. This keeps going. I don't know, like, that this is the business of Congress.
Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of.
Sorry. I didn't know that this was the business of Congress, but apparently it's the business of Congress. I don't know. I don't even know, like, did her husband get arrested, or is all this matter of public record? Did her husband share these images with her? I don't fucking know. This is weird, though. Lady, stop doing this.
Exhibit 1. Behind me is a screenshot from one of the videos I found of myself. The yellow circle, this naked silhouette, is my naked body.
So hold on. So this right here, if I had a camera in my place, see, like, you can see the entrance, you can see entrances to the room. Like, this would be like where you would put this. I don't know that this isn't a security camera.
I didn't know that I had been filmed. I didn't give my consent. I didn't give my permission. And this particular video that Patrick Bryant recorded of me on his secret camera, he saved for over 3 years without my knowledge. I didn't pick this fight. I don't even want to be here today and discuss this. But because he's still roaming around South Carolina free, filming whatever genital parts he wants, because no one has held him accountable, He's not in jail. He's not had to pay a fine, no restitution. He's able to rape other women, film them.
What?
And when I discovered
No, he's
this
not.
video,
I mean, he's not able to. What do you mean able to?
I discovered that he utilized up to 4 potential devices, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were more. I was filmed in secret. The camera sat silent, yet it screamed my safety was negotiable and my dignity disposable. All right, this is an image of Patrick Bryant and the co-owner of that property trying to lick his face. I think it says a lot about a man's character and what he was doing behind the scenes.
That was just a picture. Nobody was trying to lick anybody's face. This is weird. There's something fucking else is going on here, right? Like my homegirl from back in the day, her name was Ellen. She'd hear something about like something was going on maybe with one of our friends or just something that we had been talked about. And she was really famous for being, what's really going on here? And I'm getting a big what's really going on here vibe off of this story so far. So first of all, that thing she showed where she's like trying to lick his face. No, they were both looking forward, and one dude was like, I mean, that's not really trying to. I mean, if you want to lick your friend's face in a photograph, I hope you and your friends are like okay with that. You're like, you go lick your friend's face while someone takes a photograph at a party. It's funny. Like, come on. Anyway, we got more. Apparently, she has access somehow to this guy's private collection. Fuck if I know what's going on here.
And he had several upskirt photos from this family vacation at Callaway Gardens almost a decade ago, June of 2015. Here's another one when she's completely spread eagle. And he took again, this isn't just another example from the same woman on the same trip, that he took of her vaginal area, her genital area, as she's on some sort of, I don't know, looks like maybe a zip line or something, I'm not sure. And he kept this image for almost a decade.
Are these just backups of fucking cameras? Like this all looks like shots from videos. I don't know. Yeah, like this all looks like it's shots from video cameras, not from like a snapshot. I can't explain it. Just the way the images look, they look like they're captured from like surveillance cameras.
Permission to show this photo today from this victim. This is one of the rape victims that I discussed in my February 10th floor speech. As you can tell, she's on the couch and she's unconscious, passed out, blacked out. I think she was roofied. We don't know. We never will know. But as you can see, she's on the couch, dead.
Well, wait, what? She's dead?
I would find multiple photos of this rape victim on the couch of a man named Eric Bowman who resides on Sullivan's Island, South Carolina. Her rape was premeditated. It was planned. It was filmed. And the tape of her being assaulted by the business partner of Patrick Bryant, John Osborne, this rape tape was saved for years. By the time I'd found the rape tape, it had been saved for over 5 years. This is sick. This is perverted. This is criminal. And these men walk free today in South Carolina. I can't unsee the sexual assault and the rape of this young woman in the tape that I accidentally uncovered. These men should be behind bars.
So there's, okay, like none of this makes sense. Listen, I'm not saying that her ex-husband and his homeboys aren't fucking drugging people and taking advantage of them. Sure. That's more common than people think. The fact that some of this stuff supposedly happened on an island, I don't know. Was homegirl dead? Did she die from a drug overdose? Was it not a drug? Like people die sometimes. Maybe she, as they said, maybe she died suddenly from a vaccine or something. I just don't know what's going on here. And the fact that it's Nancy Mace putting this all out on Front Street and that it's her like ex partner or whatever, leads me to believe that she's not really being forthcoming, right? That we're not getting like the actual story about what's happening here. And somebody in chat had mentioned congressional immunity. She may be saying this on the floor of Congress specifically because she's immune from things like defamation, prosecution when she's on the floor of Congress. Anyway, they put Judge Janine Pirro, Boxwine Janine, in charge of one of the district courts, the federal district courts, and well, she was all for all the fucking budget cuts until, well, check this out. She didn't know they were going to cut her budget.
Couldn't get water delivered today. Today there was no water delivered to the United States Attorney's Office. And remember, it's only for those who pay $7 a month. Now, ain't it grand to be a part of the government? And I'm just thrilled to be here.
Yo, Janine Pirro has fucking $7 a month, right? Like, yo, okay, first of all, that is shitty, right? Like, come on. For people could, if it's in DC, the tap water is fine. People could drink the tap water. But she was all for the cuts, like the cuts to the government, saying all these government workers, they're living high on the hog with their fucking amenities at the office and all this shit. She gets there, she's like, "Excuse me, we're out of water. You mean I have to drink tap water?" First thing they had to explain to her is that there are not actually boxes of wine everywhere. But she just was like, "Excuse you, why is there no water here?" Let them drink boxed wine. Like, yo, lady, just grab a cup and get water out of the tap. It's fine. Up next, unfortunately, every week now there's a fucking Trump segment. We have a whole ass Trump segment this week. First I have two clips of him. These are about him being the best negotiator. He's the best negotiator.
Nobody knows debt better than me. I've made a fortune by using debt. And if things don't work out, I renegotiate the debt. I mean, that's a smart thing, not a stupid thing. And I made a fortune.
How do you renegotiate the debt?
Because you go back and you say, hey, guess what? The economy just crashed. I'm going to give you back half.
Oh, wow. Justin, quote, "Oh, the economy just crashed. I'm going to give you back half."
Yeah, so I want to pick up where the president left off there. So private bankruptcy, which the president used liberally, is a terrific way to get rich by screwing other people. What you do is you take a bet. Heads, you win, you're rich, off you go. Tails, you just declare bankruptcy and you don't have to repay your debts. That works for people. It doesn't work for countries. And if you want to know who to ask Argentina, which 100 years ago was one of the richest countries in the world and has struggled to repay its debt on and off ever since. And as a result has had a dysfunctional government that's often been unable to borrow, and its economy has basically failed to prosper over an entire century, and that's not who we want to be.
He's the best negotiator. Check this out. Oh, it just gets better, friends. It just gets better. So that was from 2016, but I thought it was important to like sort of talk about as the guy goes about the business of potentially tanking our economy by threatening tariffs and sometimes imposing them and sometimes not imposing them. I can know, but who can keep up? But here's more examples. Trump is the best negotiator.
But they will fight the drug companies. The drug companies are very worried that they're going to fight, and that's okay. If they fight, we'll just say, that's okay. We are not going to let you sell any more cars into the United States, or we're not going to let you sell any more wine or liquor or alcohol or something that's actually much more important to them than the drugs. And we're going to be
I'm sorry, do the drug companies also manufacture whiskey?
Able to force that issue if we need to. They should do it. We're basically equalizing. They should do it. And, the drug companies should do just as well. This shouldn't be a hit on their stock. I don't think it will be. It's going to be the same amount of money, but it's going to be redistributed. And it's going to be redistributed, so they're going to pay a little bit more, and we're going to pay a lot less. A little bit more because there's so many more. So it's a bigger number.
Oh fuck, man! Oh man, we are so fucked. We're so fucked, dude. We are absolutely so fucked. Where is Jeb with the Molotov when you need him? My fucking God. Trump gave a commencement speech at a West Point. Oh no. I almost put this whole thing in red light, but I decided not to. I decided to have pity upon you and on me. Here's just, I got 2 clips of Trump's commencement speech at West Point. Holy fucking shit. Check this out.
A trophy wife. It didn't work out too well, but that doesn't work out too well. I must tell you, a lot of trophy wives doesn't work out, but it made him happy for a little while at least. But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world. He moved for a time to Monte Carlo and he led the good life. And time went by and he got bored. And 15 years later, the company that he sold to called him and they said, the housing business is not for us. You have to understand, when Bill Levitt was hot, when he had momentum, he'd go to the job sites every night. He'd pick up every loose nail. He'd pick up every scrap of wood. If there was a bolt or a screw laying on the ground, he'd pick it up and he'd use it the next day in putting together a house.
What the fuck is going on? Oh, it's amazing too, because he's like at West Point, right? So this is like the military, so like they can't fucking boo or yell or fucking throw a tomato at the guy or anything, right? You can't do any of that. So he like saved his best fucking just most disconnected from reality kind of material for this. Oh, you know what, man? If y'all want to fucking just go watch this entire speech instead of my show, I ain't even going to be mad at you.
And I've approved a $1 trillion investment, and that will be, again, the largest ever in the history of our country. And we are buying you new airplanes, brand new, beautiful planes, redesigned planes, brand new planes, totally stealth planes. I hope they're stealth. I don't know. That whole stealth thing, I'm sort of wondering. I mean, if we shape a wing this way, they don't see it, but the other way they see it, I'm not so sure. But that's what they tell me.
It's a fucking magnets. How do they work? But about stealth planes. Right. Of course, most of us don't really understand how the fucking stealth plane works, like at a fucking, at like a granular, like specific level. Of course, we don't know that. Homeboy also met with the president of South Africa, and well, I got 3 clips of that. This is. Man, you know, sometimes during the show I complain that there was a slow news week. I'm like, oh, man, we only had about an hour and 5 minutes of the podcast. It was a slow news week. Sorry, everybody. That's not the case this week. We're gonna be here till like Tuesday. Here is the first clip that I have of his meeting with the president of South Africa.
People that feel they're being persecuted and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on. And we had a lot of people. I must tell you, Mr. President, we have had a tremendous number of people, especially since they've seen this. Generally, they're white farmers, and they're fleeing South Africa, and it's a very sad thing to see. But I hope we can have an explanation of that, because I know you don't want that. It's a kind of a different meeting. Normally we have meetings, we talk about trade, and we'll be talking about trade and other things. But that certainly will be a subject that comes up, yeah.
Man, we got 2 more of these, but I'm just thinking, like, we're going to see one of these, right? The closest we saw was Zelensky, but we're going to see one of these, where one of these world leaders of another country is just going to fucking tell him to shut the fuck up. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think we're going to see that, because he keeps doing this thing where he puts on like a show, you know, basically like to like try to attempt to humiliate or put down another world leader in the Oval Office. And I feel like he's going to misjudge somebody, and they're just going to tell him to shut the fuck up, and they're going to walk out. I'm hoping for that, because that's like, Oh no, look at all the ghouls standing here too. Look at fucking, you got there's Stephen Miller's right there. You got fucking apartheid Clyde. Oh god, you got Pete Hegseth. Oh, look at all these fucking ghouls. Here's more of this meeting.
From ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of...
Oh, now he's doing the Alex Jones thing, but unlike Alex Jones, he has a color printer.
People. Death. 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 Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do?
Yeah, but Stephen, that's just Stephen Miller's fucking RSS feed.
White South African couples say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
Look at the other guys. Like, can I take a look at some of these? President of South Africa is like, let me see those.
This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a report from President Ramaphosa?
Your reaction to those videos, Mr.
President Trump.
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you.
I'm sorry, this isn't funny because this is like a straight up white supremacist conspiracy theory that has found its way into like the halls of power of the United States. You know, this was a huge thing on like websites like Stormfront, like prior to COVID, it was huge on the right. This huge thing going on on the right wing media space. And then it kind of died down for a while, and now it's coming back, and it's coming back like at the White House. When people went and looked, and a lot of the times the stories they were talking about, it was a lot of times the victims were black, actually, not white. And when they like ran statistics, to the extent that you trust any government statistics on their own crime rate, it seemed that the rate of violent crime against white farmers in South Africa or whatever was in line with the overall violent crime rate in the country as a whole, which has actually been going down. But that doesn't really fucking make a difference to this guy. Oh no, I'm telling you, man, I don't know. I feel like the president of South Africa and his delegation, assume if you take the Secret Service out of the equation, I think they could take the U.S. Side of this delegation in a like bare knuckles boxing match or something. Like, what the fuck is going on?
We need an Air Force One until that's Air Force One. It's being built. 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I will.
Whoa.
Where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States.
Those are all those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah, dude, fucking, the guy was like, we could talk about this. He's like, if there are issues. Oh, man, what Oh no. Fucking homeboy was like, I'm not offering you a plane. Hey everybody, don't worry. When we cut food assistance, that means everybody has the most food. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but when you cut food assistance, fucking food, as they say, grows on trees.
Very much. You campaigned on lowering the price of groceries. How do you justify cutting food assistance in this bill?
Let me just tell you, the cut is going to give everybody much more food because prices are coming way down. Groceries are down. Eggs. You told me about eggs. You asked me a question about eggs my first week. You said eggs. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And it was going through the roof. You know that eggs now are way down. Everybody's buying eggs. Groceries down. Energy's down. Gasoline is now they're buying gasoline now for $1.99.
Where the fuck are they getting gasoline for $1.99? Where the absolute, like, because I understand that where I live, everything's like inflated, right? Especially like, because I live next to the freeway in Oakland. So everything's going to be like inflated. But I think gas is like $6 a gallon, $5 a gallon here. And at best, where it's cheap, it's half basically of what it is in the more inflated parts of the Bay Area. But I don't think you're finding gas for anything less than $3 a gallon anywhere in this country right now. Eggs, I was blessed with cheap eggs the whole time. But groceries aren't down. And if they are, it's like at the margins, right? It's certainly not making a dent in like the massive increase in prices of groceries that happened, partially due to COVID and partially due to like other factors. This is all bullshit. Don't worry though, folks. The president's actually gonna hang out with the woke Pope's brother. So as long as the president gets to hang out with the woke Pope's brother, I think everything's gonna be fine. I don't see any reason to worry or anything like that.
But I think I like them. Yeah, I like the Pope and I like the Pope's brother. One of the Pope's brothers, actually both of them, but one in particular is a major MAGA fan. Did you know that? He lives in Florida. He's got MAGA, he's got Trump, and I look forward to getting him to the White House. I want to shake his hand. I want to give him a big hug. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
I want to hang out with the woke Pope's brother. Oh, man. I mean, what the fuck ever, dude. I'm sure the woke Pope's brother is fine. We're only on page 1 of our docket for the week. So here's a clip of Jesse Waters. I guess he loves Donald Trump's kids. I guess. I don't know. Here we go.
I look at this as common sense. Trump is a great parent. Look at his kids. No drinking, no smoking, no tattoos. They're all good looking and successful with their own nice families.
He didn't say no drugs.
And I don't want to get into any of the other Democrats' families because it's not right. But everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Pretty sure Don Jr. is a cokehead. But that's fine. Like, if your kid's a cokehead, you should still be able to be the president. My problem with Donald Trump isn't that Don Jr. is a cokehead. And the only way in which that is a problem is that Don Jr. is essentially part of the administration, which is, you shouldn't have your fucking son as part of your administration anyway. It was bad when Kennedy had his brother as the AG, and it's bad when Trump has his family all up in the administration. Not good. Up next, did you know that the jet we were talking about last week, Trump actually tried to buy it, but they just gave it to him for free?
While I have you, Congressman, I want to get your reaction to new CNN reporting revealing that the Trump administration actually initiated asking Qatar for a plane to use as Air Force One. That's contrary to the president's own narrative. What's your reaction to that?
No, I think that the president wanted to buy, was willing to buy a plane from Qatar because it's actually needed. And I think that what came back was that that they would donate it to the United States Air Force. And so thank you to Qatar for donating a 747 to the United States Air Force. And I'm sure we'll accept it. And then the Air Force will do what it needs to do in order to make it appropriate to be an Air Force One while we still await the delivery of the new airplanes from the Boeing company.
You know how long it's going to take for the fucking Air Force and the intelligence services and shit to like go over that plane? They're going to have to, it's going to be like, oh man, there's going to be like, they're going to find all kind of fucking surveillance equipment and shit in that plane. And then Trump's going to be like, don't take that out. What do you mean? Why are you being so mean to our friends in Qatar? Why are you, what the fuck? What do you mean there's surveillance equipment in here? What do you mean they can just listen to everything we say on here? They told me that wasn't true. But don't worry, the Democrats have a plan. The Democratic Party is going to come to the rescue. They are going to, looks like Richie Torres is going to introduce legislation to, and I'm not kidding, he's going to introduce legislation that tells the president that the president has to follow the law, which you can already see the reason this is stupid, I think.
In the case of Abrego Garcia, the right-wing Supreme Court unanimously ordered Donald Trump to facilitate the release of Abrego Garcia, but he refuses. He's ignoring an order from the Supreme Court. And so I'm introducing legislation.
Oh, that's great. He's ignoring a lawful order by the court. So you're going to make a new law. That's real smart, dude. That's how you get us. Be like, oh, he's not following the other law. Let's make a new one. Don't worry, he'll follow this one.
Known as the SAFE Act, the Stop Aid for Foreign Expulsions. And it says simply, if a federal court has deemed a foreign detention illegal, then federal funding for the detention must be immediately revoked. Keep in mind that the Trump administration is not directly detaining Abrego Garcia, but is doing so indirectly because it is paying the El Salvadorian government to detain Abrego Garcia.
In some cases, people are being detained in countries that aren't even their national origin, right?
I mean, there are Venezuelan migrants in a high security prison in El Salvador. And what I find troubling is many of them spend the rest of their lives. So like the crime of, since when is seeking refugee status in the United States a crime punishable by life in prison, let alone the maximum security prison of El Salvador? It's insanity. And we've seen like a 4-year-old child who was deported, who's an American citizen, who was cut off from cancer treatment.
And why do you think the SAFE Act is so important? Why should that pass?
So that he can say that he passed it.
Because it's not only about immigration, it's about the rule of law. Like for me, there's no greater threat to the rule of law than a president who's ignoring a court order. And so we need to...
So why would the same president's administration abide by the law that you just passed?
Power that we in Congress have over federal funding to enforce a court order, to give it more teeth.
No. We are already in a constitutional crisis. The president has figured out that because of all the movement toward what the Lincoln Project assholes were calling a unitary executive, all the moves toward that, which just means a king, essentially, all the moves towards that have made it so the president just kind of does whatever the fuck he wants. And the court tells him no, and he says, okay, so what are you going to do, arrest me? Because that very same court said that they can't arrest him for shit. Either fucking during his time as office, if what he's doing is an official act, even if it's fucking violating the law, or afterward, even. They can't even go after him afterward. So now Richie Torres, who's been in the news for other dumb fucking reasons lately, is all out there like, oh, we're gonna pass a bill. It's gonna be a law. Well, the Supreme Court has determined that what the president is doing, what the president's administration through ICE is doing, deporting people to a gulag in some other fucking country, is against the law. That's what the court's there to do, right? So the court has already determined that the president broke this law. So what are you going to make a new one now? Oh, we're going to make a new law. He'll follow this one. Fucking, I'm sorry. We have a story from the comic strip Peanuts about this. It is a very simple story about Lucy, Charlie and a football. And the Democrats are just forever gonna be Charlie Brown. Folks, did you know that the presidency is actually just a crypto scam? Seems to me that the presidency is just a crypto scam. So here is Senator Murphy, probably also going to write a strongly worded letter telling the president not to run any crypto scams while he's in office. Just a crypto scam.
It is estimated that 40% of Trump's entire net worth today is due to these two crypto coins that he just launched months ago. So this has been maybe the most lucrative venture he has ever endeavored to begin. All of this money is going straight into his pocket, and he is, as we've seen, trading favors, trading U.S. policy in order to get paid. That is different than a contribution to a campaign that can only be used for political purposes.
Oh, well, that's good. You know what you should do? You should pass a law making it illegal to enrich yourself as a function of, oh, wait. There are a series of laws, including but not limited to the law about like the emoluments law. Oh, wait, it's already illegal? Well, good. Pass another law. Great. Oh, also, you can't pass a law because the Republicans are not going to vote for it because they're Republicans. You know what, though? To be fair, it was the best crypto scam. And if you consider all the other fucking scammy and illegal shit the president's been doing, you know, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
What this is the appearance of something. So somebody like you who's not convinced that he can't be bribed would look at this and say, look, I have no reason to believe him. And that is true. But what I'm balancing that with is everything else that he's done that I consider to be just epic, and only he could have done it, like the 10% global tariff that we now have that's generating billions of dollars in revenue, deporting
Is it
gangbangers and Hamas supporters, defunding Harvard, you know.
Wait, no. Okay, so a gangbanger and Hamas supporter. Okay, first, it is illegal to support Hamas. It is your First Amendment right, whether you're here on a student visa, or you were born here, or even if you're here without papers. You have committed no crime by supporting Hamas. It is not illegal to be a member of a gang. Gang membership is often used as an enhancement at sentencing when you are convicted of a crime. None of these things are fucking illegal.
Securing the border. I mean, this is stuff that is so significant that it really does outweigh this.
Did you see? Oh, the lady on the left is all of us. Look.
Stuff that is so significant that it really does outweigh this appearance, especially given what I know. I will also.
Oh, the lady on the left was great. She looked like she was not happy. She's like, this is not working for me. Oh. All right, folks. You know what? When the tariffs start tariffing and doing whatever magic they're supposed to be doing, Walmart better be careful, because they just better be careful, because otherwise I don't know what's going to happen. Well, you never know what could happen to you if you sell goods to people. The price of those goods have gone up due to a tariff, and then you raise the price of those goods because that's how businesses behave.
You are a merchant in the United States. Do you pass on the costs or not? You saw what the president had to say yesterday to Walmart.
Well, I think that assumes that tariffs all go up. And in certain circumstances, just use the car example I'll give you, perhaps they come down. But to the extent there is an increase, you've got the producer, you've got the shipper, you've got the middleman, the retailer, and you've got the consumer. All of them may bear some of that, but it's not a certainty to me at all that that's where we're going to head.
I think everybody's going to fucking hand in the cookie jar this thing, right? If the tariffs go, let's say there's 25% tariff on something. Well, I think by the time it gets to you, you're paying 40% more, because everybody's going to see this as an opportunity to put their fucking hand in the cookie jar.
Lower tariffs around the board.
Do you think ultimately? No, but I'm saying in the short term, right now.
Oh, I understand. In the short term, I think.
In the short term, if Walmart decides that they have to raise their prices, do you think that that's un-American, effectively?
I think Walmart's going to have to make this decision, but Walmart has.
Wait, what's more American than maximizing profit? What's more American than maximizing the return for your shareholders?
Be very careful about how they do this. I know that they've received some criticism from the president. I think they need to think hard. Also, the president's been, and should, they should know, the president's been working very hard with China to make sure we get this thing addressed as quickly as possible. Okay.
They better watch out, because why? This is so incorrect. Even just the appearance that there's tariffs on everything allows like dishonest actors in the supply chain to raise the price. Be like, oh, there's tariffs. It cost us more to X, Y, and Z. Like everything's just going to go up just because they could just blame it all on the fucking tariffs. I mean, I'm not a business genius, but that's what the fuck I would do if I was hella shady. Up next, we got the universities. They better get their act together.
Could you foresee, or are you now considering similar moves with other universities like Columbia that has allowed Jewish students to be threatened and made unsafe?
Absolutely. We are absolutely. This should be a warning to every other university to get.
I gotta ask, where the fuck are the Jewish students who feel unsafe at these universities? Like, because I hear all these people talking about them, but where are they at? Where are they at?
Act together. Get your act together, because we are coming to make sure that these programs, that you are facilitating an environment where students can learn, where they're safe, and that they're not discriminated against based on their race or their religion. Anti-Semitism will not be stood for, and any participation with a country or an entity or a terrorist group that hates America and perpetuates this kind of violence, we will stop it, and we will not allow that to happen, especially in places where our kids need to grow up and really learn what this country is about, what the world is about, and what it means to promote freedom and liberty.
There's a lot going on there. They're like, we want freedom. We want you to promote freedom and liberty, but you have to do it exactly how we say, which is interesting, right? Because that's, I don't know. I'm not a freedom and liberty expert, but freedom and liberty is what I say it is the opposite of freedom and liberty. And I'm just skeptical of this claim that there are like parts of like the Jewish community that are going to universities that are being made unsafe by this. Because what I've been seeing is that a lot of the leaders of these protest movements are actually Jewish students, and they're part of like Jewish student groups. Because I don't know if these people are aware of the history of Jews in America, but Jews in America have generally been pretty woke, let's say. They've been pretty woke. They've been pretty for the civil rights of others, and yeah, this is just, I don't think this is correct. I think there may be a handful of students who see these protests as a threat, but that's different than them being personally threatened or like harmed by the protests. I don't know. I just it's pretty crazy to like what they're doing here too. They're like, well, if you don't stop people from protesting, we're going to make it so you can't have any like students here on student visas. And that's crazy. This is all fucked up. Fucking what's her name? 2016, what was her name again? She warned us about all of this. Not all of this specifically, but Homegirl was right. And they like fucking yelled at her about like getting heat stroke in a fucking hot and humid day, and saying that she was fucking had a fucking child abuse ring under a pizza place and shit. She warned us about all this. It's horrible. I don't even like no Hillary Clinton. That doesn't mean she wasn't right about all this. Up next, here's the commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration. The more these people end up in front of Congress, the more worried, the more concerned I get.
And we make a decision about safe and effective. We have been suspending that role for the last 4 years with COVID boosters. And so we're saying this is a reasonable time to check in and look at clinical trial data, given how different it is. By the way, America doesn't want COVID boosters.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm out of time, actually. I assume that
America doesn't want COVID boosters. A lot of people got lazy and didn't take boosters. That's true. I would like to see more of that hearing, but I also don't want to see more of that hearing. It's not great. It's fine to do like safety testing and shit. It's important. That's the FDA's job. But like it shouldn't be safety. Like they shouldn't be like, well, we're going to do safety testing because we are anti-vaccine. Now people aren't like, people are going to be less inclined to trust the results. And if there is something wrong with one of the batches of boosters or one of the batches of any vaccine coming out now, because you got a bunch of anti-vaxxers in the fucking running the federal government, people are going to be less inclined to even believe that there's a problem if there is one. The knock-on effects of all this are really bad, really, really bad for public health. Not just the immediate effects, but like the long-term effects, right? People are, now you're going to have both. Now you're going to have like, and I don't like this both sides shit, but now you're going to have people like just like shit libs are just going to like not trust things now because this guy's in charge of the FDA. Now we got the Speaker of the House fucking hearing voices. That's great. He's Moses. Nothing weird about that. Nothing, maybe even like sacrilegious about that. Like, I think like maybe a lot of like regular kind of mainline Christians would be like, homeboy thinks he's Moses. I don't think you're supposed to go around. That's not like I don't have a thing about like fucking false prophets and shit. Like I'm not Christian myself, but some of my best friends are, Christian. Don't they have a whole thing about like how like false prophets? Isn't homeboy doing the false prophet thing? I think he is. I don't think you're supposed to do that. I don't think. Now we're back to Kristi Noem. She is an expert. Or is this Kristi Noem? Who is this? Let me see. Yep, Kristi Noem. She is an expert on habeas corpus. Check this out.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That is not what habeas corpus is. Ma'am, no.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
President
habeas
Lincoln
corpus,
used it.
Excuse me. Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people. If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason. Habeas corpus is the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea. As a senator from the Live Free or Die state, this matters a lot to me and my constituents and to all Americans. So, Secretary Noem, do you support the core protection that habeas corpus provides, that the government must provide a public reason in order to detain and imprison someone.
Yeah, I support habeas corpus. I also recognize that the President of the United States has the authority under the Constitution to decide if it should be suspended or not.
It has never
Let
been,
us be clear, though,
it
that
has
this
never
president,
been done. It has never been done without approval of Congress. Even Abraham Lincoln got retroactive approval from Congress.
Ooh, Abe Lincoln suspended habeas corpus without approval from Congress, but there was a civil war happening. These people would suggest to you, I suppose, that the fucking country's being invaded because there's fucking brown people coming here. Great replacement and all that. But that was amazing. She's like, a habeas corpus means that the president could just say, get out. She's like, it's in the Constitution. Don't you know the Constitution? the fucking senator. It's like, ma'am, it's just that the government has to tell the public why you were arrested and why you've been imprisoned. Don't worry. There's another clip. There's another clip from this. Oh, this is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. We got people like not, I mean, I guess they're just used to like going on Fox News or like podcasts or something, right? Where they can just say whatever and nobody's going to be like, excuse me, that's not right. They're used to that shit and they go before Congress, and even like the completely ineffective shell of what may have once been a political party that we call the Democratic Party. Even some of the people in there are able to be like, well, you're fucking wrong. Here we go. Here's more.
I wanted to just go back to something that was raised earlier about habeas corpus. Can you confirm to us that you understand that any suspension of habeas corpus requires an act of Congress?
President Lincoln executed habeas corpus in the past.
No, did not. To execute something means to enact it. Or in another fucking, I guess, to murder it, right? Which I think she means he did a habeas corpus, which is not. No, the government is supposed to be in a constant state of executing on the writ of habeas corpus. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What? At this point, you just go, yeah.
With retroactive action by Congress, I believe that any president that was able to do that in the past, it should be afforded to our current day president. This president has never said he's going to do this. He's never communicated to me or his administration that they're going to consider suspending habeas corpus, but I do think the Constitution allows them the right to consider it.
When we saw what happened with, how many times has habeas corpus been suspended in our country?
Once that I know of.
4 times.
For certain. I'm not certain if those were...
4 times? She doesn't even fucking know, dude. Oh, God. She doesn't even know fucking 4 times. She doesn't... Like...
But the instance that you were referring to was one where the courts subsequently showed that Congress is the one that has the ability. Do you know what section of the Constitution the suspension clause of habeas corpus is in?
I do not. Nope.
Do you know which article it is in?
No, I do not, sir.
Okay, well, it is in Article 1. Do you know which branch of government Article 1 outlines the tasks and the responsibilities for?
Yes.
Which one?
Congress.
Yes.
She's not even like a sovereign citizen understanding of the Constitution, right? She doesn't even know that she thinks that habeas corpus is a right given to the government, but habeas corpus is a right given to you, right? Or to the people. Well, not given. The idea of the Constitution is that you have these rights as a human being, and the Constitution is there to outline them and to limit the government's power to infringe upon those rights that you have. She thinks that she thought that habeas corpus was a right that the president has, like a privilege that the president has, and that it has anything specifically to do with immigration is incorrect too. It has nothing to do with immigration except insofar as immigration might fall under the law and you get arrested, and then they just have to fucking announce that you've been arrested and charged with a crime. Holy shit, man. I mean, I am not like a wonk, but I knew that. I know what habeas corpus is. And I know like a lot of times like like when people get moved from one prison to another, sometimes if the information isn't forthcoming, they have to, people's families' lawyers eventually have to go to the courts, and the courts will hear them. their case under habeas corpus, essentially saying like you can't put this person somewhere and not tell us where they are. So like even I know that, like even like the Law and Order kind of shows get this one right. Up next, we got the Billy Long is the head of the IRS, and here is Elizabeth Warren questioning him, and at least he cops to like what we'll call known unknowns here, right? Because you have, as Rumsfeld told us, you got known knowns and unknown unknowns and known unknowns and unknown knowns, or whatever the fuck he said in that fucking weird documentary. Anyway, here's everybody. This is the head of the IRS.
I sent you the statute. You've had 3 weeks to talk to the lawyers about it. So let's jump in. Mr. Long, is it illegal for the president to direct the IRS to revoke a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
In the first place, he wouldn't do that. He's not going to come to me and say,
shit, Boss Hogg is still alive?
Mr. Long, please don't start down this.
Are we on section 7212 or 7217?
I'm at 26 USC 7217. Do I need to read it to you?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit on a taxpayer.
All righty. So is it illegal?
I'm going to follow the law. And if that's the law, yes.
Okay, but I want you, that is the law.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. Is it illegal for the President of the United States to instruct the IRS to remove a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit of the taxpayer.
Right. Is that a yes?
I'd have to go to the lawyers at the IRS to tell me.
No, come on. You just read it.
I know, but I don't see the instance that you're speaking about in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see.
Look, it says
it's like if you're not sure, like this is a time where it's kind of okay because you don't know exactly what you're going to be asked. You go, well, it seems to me that this says this would indicate that it is illegal for any member of the administrative branch to tell the IRS what to do as far as somebody's tax exempt status.
Be unlawful for any applicable person, which in this case includes the president, to request directly or indirectly any officer or employee of the Internal Revenue Service to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of any particular taxpayer. Is it illegal for the president to instruct the IRS to remove nonprofit status from a taxpayer?
I'm not going to have the answer that you need, and I apologize, but like I said.
Why are you not having the answer? You've had 3 weeks to consult with lawyers. The statute is about as clear as plain English.
Well, if I say I'm going to follow the law, why would you need to ask me the question?
Well, because I want to make sure that you understand what the law says. If you think follow the law means you just get to make it up on the spot, then, Bud, you don't get to be the IRS commissioner.
I said I would.
The point here is to follow the law as it is written. And I'm asking what I think is a pretty simple question. Can the President of the United States legally tell the IRS to change someone's nonprofit status?
I'm not able to answer.
You can't read these words and tell what those words say?
I can read the statute, and I did.
All right, then tell me what they mean. What?
This dude's blood is like half whiskey. Like you don't get that kind of red without drinking a lot of dark alcohol. So this guy, what he can't say probably is like, listen, I'm just like a toady for the president. All right. I'm just like one of his cronies. I gave him some money, and he and I are like I didn't get this job because I know anything about taxes or the law, lady. I don't know. But he can't say that, right? Well, I mean, actually, he probably could. Like nothing bad would happen to him if he said that. The president would be like, yeah, he's loyal to me. What now? And like, check this out. I know a lot of people got mad at Elizabeth Warren during the 2020 primaries, and there was reason to be mad at her. She and Bernie had been friends for a long time, and I don't want to relitigate that. But what I will say is that, you know, I'm glad she's in Congress because she's one of the few people who like goes through and like asks these kinds of fucking questions of people. You know, she's one of the few senators who'll just do this. Just stick on what the law says. And just like continue to ask this person, wasting her own time essentially, because you only get a certain amount of time to question people, to just drill down on one fucking point with somebody. And she's really good at this, and I'm glad she's still in the Senate. Here's more of that exchange.
What does it mean to say that a person, an applicable person here, that's the president, right?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Cannot directly or indirectly, right, tell any officer or employee, that would be you, of the Internal Revenue Service to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of any particular taxpayer. What part do you not understand here?
It seems to be a nonprofit. I don't see exactly what it refers to.
Any taxpayer to start an investigation of any taxpayer.
If it's illegal, I'm not going to allow it to happen in my IRS.
Is it illegal? That's
me
the
and you will
question.
be friends then. I want to be your friend anyway, but we will be.
Homeboy, you're not going to get. Homeboy, you're not going to be. Listen, she doesn't want to be your friend, dude. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Oh, maybe we could be friends. What the fuck is he doing?
Point blank,
what do you understand the law to be saying about the president telling the IRS in his dealings with any particular taxpayer? What do you understand this law to be saying?
I think it sounds like it's saying what you're saying, but I don't. I've got a little bit of the section here, and I looked at it. I talked to an attorney that used to be at the IRS and now going to maybe be back at the IRS, and I'm sorry if I don't have the answer.
What, you mean the lawyers told you they couldn't understand this?
The what?
The lawyers told you they couldn't understand this?
I didn't say that.
Well, then tell me, what part do you not understand? It says no person, and you said that's the president, that includes the president, cannot instruct any officer, that would be you, of the IRS to conduct or to terminate an audit or other investigation for any particular taxpayer.
I don't intend to let anybody direct me to start audit for political reasons or any other type of reason.
Does that include the President of the United States?
That's anyone.
Can you say yes, that the president...
Wait, but this again, this is so infuriating because she's not asking him what he personally intends to do. She's asking him, like, what does this say about... And this is obviously referring to... I mean, I don't know that this to be the fact, but I'm 104% sure. This probably refers to something that Trump said about having somebody's tax-exempt status revoked because he doesn't like them. I'm like 107% sure, like if that's possible, that that's what's going on here. I mean, I'm more sure than you should ever be without knowing that that's what's going on here. That the fucking president said some shit about that.
The United States cannot tell the IRS what to do.
I can tell them they're not going to tell me what to do. I can't speak for if there's other agents at the IRS that you're talking about, but I'm telling you what I don't want to have happen in my IRS.
You know, Mr. Long, you'd have a lot more credibility if you just say yes. It's clear that the statute makes it illegal for the president to direct the IRS vis-a-vis any particular taxpayer. And the fact that you want to sit there and dance around about this tells me that you shouldn't be within 1,000 miles of the directorship of the IRS. I apologize.
Senator Brown. That dude's name is Mr. Crapo. Oh, man. That's got, listen, I know this is like off topic, but Homeboy must have run one hell of a campaign to get a name, to get elected, like with all signs all over the place that say vote Crapo. Anyway, sorry. I'd have got mad at a co-host if they'd have done that. Oh, so that's somebody in chat's senator. I think that would be Oregon. I'm sure. Well, maybe Democrats are a little more forgiving. Anyway, the hits keep coming. Did you know why healthcare costs so much in America compared to other countries? The answer might surprise you. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I think the answer might surprise you. We got Brian Kilmeade going to tell you why healthcare in this country is so expensive. Brian Kilmeade is, I still think, the stupidest person at Fox News. I think he's the dumbest motherfucker at Fox News. Now, I think that Waters is a close second, and then the other Fox and Friends guy, Ducey, is a close third. Brian Kilmeade is the stupidest motherfucker at Fox News. Check this out.
Barack Obama made Obamacare, and all those states got the free money. And now all of a sudden, Medicaid doesn't look anything like it was supposed to, and it's 95% financed by the federal government. It's supposed to be a state program.
And the longer we leave it that way, the more permanent that becomes.
Right, because people get addicted to the free money. Let's talk about some.
People are addicted to government fucking funding. Basically, because money's, you follow the money. People are addicted to healthcare. Essentially, people are addicted to get some help covering their healthcare expenses. I know that's people, reasonable people might differ. No, wait, that's incorrect. Reasonable people might not differ on that. I feel like we're all addicted to healthcare. I'm a pretty healthy person. I've been very lucky that I've never had any real big health emergencies, but I figure without healthcare, I'd probably be dead, right? I'm pushing 50. I wouldn't be here. I think a lot of you wouldn't be here either. There's some of you here, I don't know any of you personally, but people have shared things in chat. I know that some of you here have lived through health emergencies. So now you're addicted to healthcare, folks. I don't know what to tell you. But don't worry. Speaking of healthcare, RFK Jr. is on the case. Or not. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Let me ask you about something you said when you were on Capitol Hill this week. You were asked about the lead crisis in Milwaukee schools. You told Congress, quote, "We have a team on the ground in Milwaukee." The city said that's not true and that they are still not getting the help that they want from the CDC. Do you know who is on the ground? Who were you under the impression?
The CDC is giving them assistance with their labs, their analytics, and advice.
They just said one technician was on the ground.
I can't tell you how many are on the ground in the city of Milwaukee, but I can tell you we are there.
But you don't know how many?
I can't tell you how many right now.
So, this is from the Milwaukee Health Commissioner and Senator Tammy Baldwin. Yeah.
You could read my other exchanges with Tammy Baldwin, and anyway, I'm not necessarily believing what Senator Baldwin.
So you're disputing and saying that there are more than one CDC employees.
Like I said, we have 62,000 employees. I'm not sure how many we have deployed to Milwaukee. I'm happy to check and give you that information.
And are you committed to?
Like I told you, he's either on the case or he's not. He doesn't know. He might have to check. But he's got you covered for your mental health. This is great. We're spending billions on treatments, but we don't know if they're working. This is fucking a little bit Xenu-pilled here, folks. It's starting to sound a little bit like a Scientology video on some of this stuff.
Hey, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And today we had an amazing meeting with many of the mental health advocacy groups and many of the mental health insurance plans. A big frustration among both the employers and the advocacy groups is the lack of any coherent outcome-oriented treatments.
Best treatment and outcome.
So they're paying billions of dollars for mental health treatment with no real metrics on whether it works or not. We do not have a proper incentive system or the knowledge to be really able to reach the people who need mental health treatment and give them cures that we have confidence in.
Innovative ways to solve these issues.
We're determined now over the next 4 years to change those incentive systems, to make them more outcome-oriented, and to deliver for both the employers who want to take care of their employees, mental health advocacy groups, and for all the people who are concerned who have family members or themselves suffering from mental illness, to get them the best and most effective treatment and allow them to flourish.
So this is wild, and people in chat are already, bringing up important points here. Mental illnesses generally don't have cures. You treat people, you try to manage people, make it so folks can manage their own lives as to the best, as best they can, and that's pretty much it. We're getting pretty close to fucking Scientology territory here. We're not too far away from him basically saying, because we can't isolate like something in your brain or whatever, that mental illness isn't real. we're getting real close to that shit here. And that's like the fundamental thing that the Scientologists believe. It's like the main thing that they believe is that everything is, basically caused by your own behavior and your own past trauma. They're probably going to say that it's environmental, right? And that none of these are like neurological disorders or whatever. So I guess I missed something that RFK Jr. had said. He had previously, I guess, said that by September that they were going to find the smoking gun, the absolute for sure thing that causes autism. And now I guess he's walking that back because that was a crazy thing to say. I mean, crazier than what he usually says.
Looking at your April 10th comments when you were inside the cabinet meeting, you said by September we will know what has caused the autism epidemic and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
We'll have some of the information. To get the most solid information, it will probably take us another 6 months.
Okay, so parents should not expect to know what causes autism by September anymore.
We'll see. We're going to, as I said, we're going to replicate some of the studies that have already been done that look like sound studies, and we'll know a lot from those, and then we'll know a lot more afterward.
But not the definitive answer by September, just to be clear, because it matters.
It depends what those replicable studies show.
Okay, and then what do you expect to happen 6 months after that? You mentioned something else in 6 months.
I expect we will know the answers of the etiology of autism.
Okay, so that timeline is moving from September to 6 months after September.
As I said, we're going to begin to have a lot of information by September. We're not going to stop the studies in September. We're going to be definitive.
Oh my fucking God. What do you like? This is amazing. There's a couple things going on here. One, that no one has ever endeavored to find out what the potential or proximate cause is of our people having autism. Nobody ever studied that, I guess. Nobody ever tried to figure that out ever. It hasn't been an interest of anybody. And that's interesting because I figure that we're not, this wouldn't be the first time that anyone ever endeavored to figure out why people are autistic. It could be, even if it doesn't lead to what they would call a cure. I don't like that language. Even if it doesn't lead to that, knowing why it happens is good. It would increase the overall medical body of knowledge about people. And so I figure that this has been looked into before. And the idea that this motherfucker is going to, do some studies to find out where the fuck it comes from. And it's going to be maybe not September, but I guess now we're looking at March, a little less than a year from now. I don't think that's right. I don't think this is going to happen. But somebody in chat said the cure is probably going to be work camps, right? Because Bobby Kennedy, I'm sorry, that we should never call him that. That's almost a term of endearment. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said before that people who have drug problems and mental problems should be sent to wellness camps, right? Well, what's the difference between a wellness camp and a concentration camp, except for the fucking brand on the package? All right. Well, we got one more RFK. He's not super happy with Senator Patty Murray during this hearing.
Secretary Kennedy, whose decision was it to withhold child care and development block grant funding?
Senator, I want to point out that in 2021, at the beginning of his administration, President Biden submitted his budget on May. You know what? You made an accusation to me, and I'm going to answer it.
Okay,
Sir, this is not a fucking podcast.
On May 28th, he submitted his budget. So our budget. We're a new administration.
Okay, you can go.
And I also want to point out.
I have just 2 minutes left. I asked you a specific.
I want to point out something, Senator. You presided here, I think, for 32 years. You presided over the destruction of the health of the American people.
Well,
Our people are now the sickest people in the world.
Seriously.
Because you have not done your job.
Seriously. That is an
What have you done
amazing
about it?
point.
What have you
Mr.
done about the
Secretary,
epidemic
I am here
of
to
chronic
ask-
disease?
Mr. Secretary,
What
you
have
are
you done
here in
about
front-
the epidemic
Mr.
of chronic
Secretary,
disease?
Seriously, Madam
Mr. Secretary,
Chairman.
I would ask you to hold back and let the senator ask the questions.
Mr. Secretary, I'm asking you a question about child care. I'm asking you who made the decision to withhold child care and development block grant funding.
That was made by my department.
Okay, and you...
Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, you just started freaking out on that lady. First of all, I don't know when he says we're the sickest. I don't know what that means. He says chronic illness is on the rise. Well, up until fairly recently, life expectancy has gone up. And as you get older, chronic illnesses tend to be more prevalent among your society because you get them sometimes as you get older. I don't know what he means by we're the sickest society, but I think he means the sickest society of what I guess rich countries is the way I like to talk about it, right? Or fairly rich countries. But the problem there is we're the only rich country that doesn't like guarantee people like some form of health care, but essentially as a right. And so, yeah, you got people like not getting treated for what they believe to be minor illnesses that actually turn out to be pretty serious long-term problems, and with left untreated, they're in worse shape than they would have been before. But none of these motherfuckers that are like talking about all this, that we're for health, we want to make everybody healthy. None of these motherfuckers want to give everybody access to the doctor. Well, that doesn't seem to be the fucking solution here, does it? They just want to like grandstand on this idea that like somehow if we adopt certain wellness practices, not like good nutrition, I mean like what we call wellness practices, right? Probably like supplements and like fucking, I don't know, like ball sack tanning or like all the shit that they advertise on the kinds of podcasts that RFK Jr. was going on prior to him being appointed to this position, right? If we adopt those measures, we can somehow spiritually cleanse ourselves medically or some shit like that. It's such a crazy fucking idea when the answer to the question is right there in front of us. It's to our north, it's to our south, it's to our east, it's to our west. It's universal health care. But fuck if these people ever talk about that. They're never going to say a goddamn word about that because they don't really care about people's health. It's like it's useful as part of almost like a puritanical project where they want you to get back to like some kind of old way that never existed. Up next, last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think the Media Wench was hosting. I wasn't in a position to do the show. She covered that the protest at the ICE facility where everybody said that there was like an assault. We didn't see any assaults. Well, Representative Monica McIver, not MacGyver, McIver, was charged with felony assault at that during that, and here she is on CNN to talk about being charged with felony assault.
A developing story. The Justice Department filed charges Monday against a Democratic member of Congress, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey. DOJ is accusing her now of assaulting and interfering with law enforcement during a confrontation with Homeland Security officers outside an ICE detention center in Newark earlier this month. You're seeing video that we've played before of the moments of the chaos that ensued. The situation first grabbed attention when the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested on grounds of federal trespassing. That charge has since been dropped. The mayor was on CNN with Abby Phillip last night and spoke about all of this. Listen to this.
I didn't see any of the things that were stated. I didn't see any of those things happen. So I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated. And the videos are clear. Everybody can see those videos. They'll see the whole thing, and it'll be clear to me, and it'll be clear to her in court.
Speaking up in defense of the Congresswoman, joining me right now is the Congresswoman at the center of this, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. Thank you, Congresswoman, for being here. The charge is specifically for assaulting, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement. What is your reaction to this charge?
First of all, thank you so much, Kate, for having me or allowing me to come on for a few seconds today. I think the charges are absurd. You know, it's ridiculous. I was there to do my job along with my other colleagues. We have done this before. This is our obligation to do. It's in our job description to have oversight over a facility. And the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was
I saw somebody hit her.
Situation, but it could have been, easily not. It could have easily not.
Not that I would think that person should be charged either. Like this just looks like a.
It was very unnecessary, and it just once again we were there to do our jobs, and if I'm going to be charged with a crime for doing my job, it just speaks to where we're headed in this country and what we're dealing with as leaders and as Congress members, here in this country.
Congresswoman, just specifically on the issue at hand with now that you're facing this charge, I mean, what is the plan today? I mean, are you turning yourself in or showing up in court? I mean, what is your understanding of what happens now?
So we are still trying to get more information on what the next steps are. My attorneys are in contact with the federal courts in New Jersey, in Newark, New Jersey. So we're just waiting on direction. For now, it's business as usual. I'm going to do my job. This week, we all know that Republicans are trying to take away Medicaid and important funding to services that impact the over 800,000 people that I represent in New Jersey and across this nation. And so I'm going to do my job, Kate. That's why I was elected, why the people from New Jersey sent me here. So it's a full day of work for me here on the Capitol.
We just
on Capitol Hill, excuse me.
No, of course, we were just covering it as President Trump is heading into a big meeting with Republicans on this exact issue. CNN has some reporting from sources that you and the Justice Department had attempted to negotiate a plea deal of some kind. Acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, though, said on Monday that you declined the department's attempts to, quote, come to a resolution. Can you speak to that? I mean, are you?
She shouldn't plead guilty. I didn't see anything in there. I didn't even see what I'd call police brutality. Like I said last week when this came up, crazy enough, I didn't even see anything that I thought the police were doing that the ICE was doing that I would call police brutality. Was it chaotic? Was there was there a little bit of pushing and shoving? Sure. But all right. Like all things considered, that could have gone a lot worse.
Department to resolve this outside of the courtroom at this point?
Well, the Justice Department and Alina Habba wanted me to admit to doing something that I did not do, and I was not going to do that. Once again, I came there to do my job and conduct an oversight visit, and they wanted me to say something differently, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to roll over and stop doing my job because they, don't want me to, or they want to neglect the fact that we needed to be in there to see what was going on in that detention center. And so, absolutely, no, I was not going to do that. And I think I'm open. I've always been open to having conversations. We have to have good government. We have to be able to conduct ourselves and be professionals, in this work. This is what the folks that I represent expect for me to do. And so definitely always open to conversations, but I'm not going to admit to something that I did not do. And no one's going to stop me for serving the people in New Jersey because that's what they expect for me to do.
Congresswoman, earlier in the show, Republican Congressman Warren Davidson was on with my colleague John Berman, and John asked him about the charge that you're now facing. He said he wasn't entirely sure of everything involved in the case or the charge, but he did say this. I want to play this for you.
So anytime, one party goes after another, it's viewed as political. But I think the principle has to be that no one really is above the law. I hope they work it out.
Oh, this is amazing.
I hope we resolve things in a place that's rational. I mean, it seems crazy to me that you've got members of Congress and some of the public, but not much, certainly not in my district, defending MS-13 gang members. I mean, they're not here legally. I think the mandate in this election.
Oh, it's always this. Oh, we forgot the new one. I forget the name. It's Trendeagua, something. He forgot that we have a new one that we're supposed to be afraid of.
Just wondering, as you can respond to the congressman there, but also having time and space to think about what happened on that day and reflect on it, would you have done anything differently?
No, I would not have. Once again, we showed up there to do a job, Kate. We were there for an oversight visit. We have done this before. You know, me, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, and Congressman Bob Menendez was just at a facility just a couple of weeks ago, not too far from this location, where we had an oversight visit, and we were a little bit delayed, but not, confronted or was in the middle of a chaos to do so. I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, what Republicans are saying, about us, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight.
Are they saying that they went there to try to break these? That is, because I haven't seen that. I don't think the lady's lying, but I haven't seen that as like a main talking point here. But if that's the talking point, that these most of these people she's younger than most people in Congress. Most people in Congress old. They ain't breaking nobody out of nothing.
Which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour. We were all of this, we broke in, we assaulted people, all of these things that, HABA is saying and Republicans are saying, but they gave us a tour and allowed us to go in and tour the facility and speak to detainees. So, I would not have done anything different because, once again, the people that I represent expect for me to do my job. And that is exactly what I plan on doing. And that is what I was doing that day at Delaney Hall.
Congresswoman, you are now facing a federal charge, though. Are you afraid of what's going to transpire now?
I mean, it's super unfortunate, Kate, that we have come to this point, in America, that this is what we see happening to leaders who are trying to do their jobs. Rather it's the mayor of the largest city, rather it's a judge. We've seen this administration come after and attack, leaders for doing their jobs. It's political intimidation, and I will not be intimidated. I expect to continue to do my job. Once again, very unfortunate situation. I did not think when I came to Congress in September that I would be, dealing with something like this, or dealing with being charged with anything. But once again, I am committed to doing my job for the people that I represent, and I stick to that because those are the people who sent me here in Congress in the first place. So looking forward to continuing to work and dealing with the things that you've been talking about all morning, cuts, to very important services, to Medicaid, to Social Security, in my district. That's going to hurt my district. And so super highly focused on that, and will continue to do so because that's what people expect for me to do. And I want to deliver for the people that I represent.
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, thank you for coming on. It was important to hear.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in that. Again, I didn't even see usually in those situations, right? The fucking law enforcement is extremely heavy-handed, right? I didn't see the law enforcement bust out any batons. I didn't see anybody throw any punches. I didn't see shit. I saw a little scuffle, that it almost, and it looked to me like the pushing and shoving was initiated by the law enforcement. Now, but that, mind you, I'm perfectly fine copying to my own bias here, right? That I am going to view this through my own biased lens and the biased lens of probably the community that that we have here. But it looked to me like the first people that started shoving folks were the fucking law enforcement. I don't know. Well, another thing happened this week. There was a shooting in D.C. at the Israeli embassy, I believe, or an Israeli consulate, and the shooter was arrested, and they interviewed the shooter's neighbor, and the shooter's neighbor seems pretty cool. I wonder if they're gonna fucking throw him in jail too.
We have 2 people dead in D.C. We have 50,000 dead in Gaza and how many children starved to death last night. In 1956, Israel invaded Sinai. They invaded Gaza. The United States president at the time, Dwight Eisenhower, put his foot down, and he told the French and the British, get the heck out of the Suez Canal, and he told Israel to get the heck out of Sinai and out of Gaza. Now, where would we be today if we had a president that could have said that 2 years ago?
Excuse me, can you describe again the Elias personality that you met?
Quiet and friendly. Quiet and friendly. Yeah.
What's your age, if you don't mind us asking?
71. Yeah. I'm the guy with all the signs in the window.
What do you hope happens next?
Ceasefire. No more deaths. No more deaths in D.C. No more deaths in Gaza.
What about with your neighbor?
I don't know.
If you could say something to him right now, what would you want to communicate to him? What would you have said if you, like you said earlier, could have talked to him?
Oh, I would have repeated what I've already said. Guns and bombs are not going to end this genocide.
John, can you tell us whose apartment is that right there with the Rosanna Rodriguez signs?
Mine.
Okay.
Pretty good?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, they did not get from him what they wanted at all. Because they wanted either A, for him to like condemn all this and be like, oh, this and that and whatnot. And he did. He's like, you shouldn't do this. We have people dead. They shouldn't have been dead. But then he went on to talk about Gaza. But then he wouldn't do, I think they thought that this guy, because of all the signs, was going to go out there and like explicitly defend the actions of his neighbor. And he didn't do that either, because like, he's just like an old guy who like sees what's going on in Gaza and has signs in his window. Like this is all fucked up. And the media, as they ought to do, has covered this in an incredibly crazy way. Going so far as to blame Hassan Piker for this.
But all of us need to call it out. I'm thinking about the New York Times doing a gauzy profile a few weeks ago of this gamer, Hassan Piker, who
So this guy's an idiot. I don't even know if Hassan plays games on stream. Does he play games? I don't know.
He employs awful genocidal rhetoric against Jewish people in the Jewish state.
Wait, what?
No. Extremists should not be empowered. People who spout prejudice should not be platformed. This is a moment when we need to look ourselves in the mirror and say, we've got to stop this because the consequences are deadly.
So Hassan's rhetoric is much more inflammatory than mine, but Hassan Piker does not say bad things about just what we international Jewry or whatever, right? He's not out there. He's motherfucker, and he's just this Republican asshole or whoever it is, just needs to look a little bit to his right to find the people blaming the world's problems on Jewish folks. Again, Hassan Piker's rhetoric is much more inflammatory than mine around this issue, and that's his decision. There's no way that I think he is a terrorist sympathizer or has ever called directly for violence against, for example, the Israeli consulate in the United States. And not for nothing, one of the dead was a Christian, and that's whatever. That's fine. You can go work for the Israeli consulate if you're Christian. I don't give a fuck. But this is all fucking bullshit. The way the media is covering this is bullshit. But what else do we expect in the United States, where it's taken how long since the bombings for public opinion to appear, to start to turn on this? It's taken how long? I waited. I didn't say shit about it till like maybe February or March. I wanted to wait and make sure that I had talked to other people, talk to who I needed to talk to make sure that I had the right take. I waited. But come February or March, I forget when it was, I fucking just came out. I was like, well, this looks to be like ethnic cleansing or genocide. It looks like that's what's happening here. And we should all oppose that. I don't care what religion you are. And, don't go shoot people that work at the consulate. You don't even, the other thing is like polling in Israel shows that most of the people of Israel are for the actions of the Likud party and of the IDF. But you have no idea what the people working at the consulate in America believe. And like just going and shooting somebody, like you're not helping, especially in our media environment. You are not helping this, because everybody's going to jump on this and be like, oh, look, everybody who opposes Palestine must support this guy going and fucking blatting a diplomat or whatever. Well, no, I don't, you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody who just legitimately straight up supports going and blatting diplomats. Anyway, here's more of the horrible coverage from the news on this.
As you go forward with what you have seen, can you give us any sense, because you said you looked the shooter in the eyes, can you give us any sense of what you saw in him as he was sort of getting help and people were tending to him as if he too was a victim of seeing this?
Yeah, well, to be clear, I heard about that part because we were in the secure room when he initially walked in. I just saw him screaming and then being handcuffed. But what I saw in his eyes, I mean, I went to Columbia for grad school, and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia.
What?
Nothing different between him and them.
What?
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission.
They didn't know.
And they have called for Intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
But what the?
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two? Those people who are speaking their mind, who really care.
No, he doesn't worry. That's what he's doing on your show. And I know, she actually pushed back more than because I didn't watch this beforehand. She already pushed back more than I expected. Good for her. She's like, I don't think that's the same thing. Is that the same thing? She already pushed back more than I expected. But lady, he's on here manufacturing consent for the at least in the United States and possibly more globally, or in what people call the West, the shutting down of pro-Palestinian speech through the legal system.
What is happening in Gaza, and those people who are like this person who did this horrific shooting, who intend to do harm.
A conflation. I mean, they are calling for Intifada. At Columbia University, they call for Intifada constantly. They're not quietly, they're loud. They're loud. You can hear it. They make recordings of themselves. So what's the difference?
Are you afraid?
See, oh, lady, no. She was so good at the beginning, lady. You keep asking him. I'll be like, what do you mean? What is Intifada? Ask him what Intifada is. What is Intifada?
What will
We're
you do
all
about
afraid.
that?
Everyone should be afraid.
Wait, why?
What are you doing to try to make yourself feel safer?
Well, okay, you just go on and live your life. I'm a New Yorker. I remember 9/11. You can't let them make you be afraid. You have to go on. You have to live your life, and hopefully your government does things to protect you. Last night, our government failed us.
Jonathan Epstein, I know that they are going forward with this. There is expected to be charges in this case. We will see what happens, but I know you'll be watching, and we'll talk to you again as this goes forward. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that you had to witness what you did. Kate?
yo, first of all, like, I don't want to, no, I'm going to say like my initial thought. Homeboy doesn't, I wouldn't peg him, like, I wouldn't assume dude is Jewish just by looking at him or hearing him talk or whatever. Not that I'm not trying to take away, like, I'm not trying to gatekeep Judaism or somebody's like Jewish identity. I'm not trying to do that here. But if he's worried about anti-Semitism, I mean, he can just blend the fuck in, right? He can just blend in and just be like a New Yorker, right? There's a lot of Jews in New York, like Jews in most cases, they're just viewed as like white people now. But like, my fucking God, dude. What do you mean you saw it in the protesters at Columbia? Was he hanging out with the protesters? Or is he talking about videos? And what does he mean when he says that they were chanting Intifada on that they recorded? Like, this is all fucking so crazy. And it's not right. It's not right, essentially, that for whatever reason, our foreign policy gives any country basically a mulligan when they do stuff. Right? Like, this is sort of the same thing as after 9/11. The fucking hijackers were Saudis. Oh, Saudis were our friends. We get oil from them. We have military agreements with them. Wasn't the Saudis. And now this is happening. Well, those are the Israelis. Those are our homies. They can do what they want, and we're gonna protect them. And I suppose if people would just come out and fucking say that, be like, well, that's Israel, and they're our friends, and they can do what they want. Then at least it would be honest, and people would then be able to make their own decisions about whether or not that's right. I assume most people would make a decision that's not right, but instead we have this thing now where you've got to, where when I talk about this, I feel like I have to be kind of careful. And the reason I feel like I have to be kind of careful is because we study conspiracy communities here. We see extremist communities. We study white supremacy. And I do see people that just fucking blame it on the Jews. We study Nick Fuentes. We used to remember the Daily Shoah. Oh God. We've seen all kind of shit where people just straight up blame the Jews for everything. And so I'm careful when I talk about this stuff, but it seems like the Israel cheerleaders, they never feel like they have to be careful because they know that most Americans don't see Muslims as human beings, or enough Americans don't see Muslims as human beings that you can just say whatever you want about them. And you don't have to be careful. You don't have to be precise in your speech. They're the enemy, and they better die over there, or else they're going to come here and actually do crazy things like support gay marriage. This is all so like in like fucking, this is all out in like, it's like silly season on this, but people are dying. And it just seems like no matter what happens, no matter who does what, it's all the fault of people who support like people who advocate for the end of the genocide of the Palestinians. It's Hassan. If I get clipped out sometime, it'll be me. It'll be fucking Sam Cedar one of these days, or fucking who knows, man. It'll be any woman of color in Congress is now a terrorist supporter and shit. It's the college students. They're all supporting terrorism. I just wonder, like, if all these fucking people, and some of them in positions of power with great influence, are supporting terrorism, why ain't we getting all kind of terrorism like here? Where the fuck's all the terrorism? Because we talk about the idea of stochastic terrorism, like in like far right spaces, and we actually do see right wing terrorism. And I don't know. This was, I mean, this. I guess it. I don't want to like draw too many distinctions here, but this is an assassination, and I'm not sure if assassination. I'm trying to draw all these fucking distinctions between something like an assassination, a political assassination, and terrorism. I mean, maybe it's fucking useless anyway to try to draw these distinctions. Homeboy should not have gone in there and shot people at the fucking Israeli consulate. Like, what the fuck? What a fucking bonkers ass thing to do. Anyway, I guess Kermit the Frog gave a speech during commencement at the University of Maryland, and the people at Fox don't like it.
Not bad, Riley. What do you think?
Imagine being a 22-year-old student who is graduating with your degree in aerospace engineering, and a frog from the Muppets is on stage telling you to stay connected with your people. I mean, you can't even make this up. Instead of honoring entrepreneurs or veterans or innovators, they picked Kermit the Frog. We have students who are drowning in debt, who are struggling to find jobs, and universities are handing the mic to puppets. Not puppets like many Democratic elected leaders, like a real puppet. It's all theater, literally. So I see this as the same institutions who have been pushing political agendas and cancel culture now want to use a puppet to inspire students. It's unserious, it's out of touch, and frankly, it's insulting.
I would wager there were other people and possibly frogs speaking at this commencement. And no, it's actually very fucking cool if they bring out like the Muppet Kermit to speak at your commencement. That's incredibly fucking cool. We're Team Kermit here, I think. I think we're Team Kermit here. Up next, we got North Carolina Representative Greg Murphy has cracked the code as to why Medicaid, at least in North Carolina, costs so much, why the government costs so much.
Julia Benbrook, really appreciate the reporting. All right, a lot to talk about in the news this week. Joining me now, Republican Congressman Greg Murphy of North Carolina. Congressman, really appreciate you being here and taking the time. I want to start with what you all were able to do this week. You all were able to come together to pass this spending bill on the House side, but of course, still a big hurdle on the Senate side. So I guess, how confident are you with its prospects in its current form, and where do you believe the Senate may pick at first, I guess?
Yeah, Omar, this was a very, very difficult process, really culminating in really a couple years worth of work. And then, we put all our bill out to the entire conference. And then, of course, we have some folks that will pick at it, and they picked at it. And the speaker did really a maestro's job in trying to thread needles here, trying to get different ends of the conference. Those who are a lot more salt-minded, those who didn't want salt at all, really to try to pull together. We had a couple of people that were going to vote no regardless. So having this win by just the one vote margin, I think one person actually slipped through the thing, was a real tremendous success. It flips over to the Senate, and there's some things that the Senate probably is not going to like. They're not a big fan of salt. There are a few other things that need to be done. What's hopeful is that they're going to get all this done, get things worked out in a conference report, and have it on the president's desk by July 4th.
And, Senator Ron Johnson has been among those who actually has looked at the around $1.5 trillion in spending cuts that has come from this bill and says, you know what, that's not enough. Do you think there is room to cut more?
Oh, yeah, that's right. There's going to be a few of those fucking whack job, fucking like pseudo-libertarians that are going to maybe not vote for it because you're not fucking the poor people over enough. Or at least they're going to pretend that.
If so, in what categories?
I think there's possibly room to cut more, and I also think there's room to do some of the tax issues because we came forth with a bill with a lot of different constituencies. But the good thing about this is that the Speaker and Senator Thune have been working together during this entire process. So I don't think it's going to be
$45 billion for more migrant detention centers. That should raise alarm bells in everyone's head.
As radical change as some people may suggest or want. There are a few things, honestly, I'd like thrown out. There's some of the tobacco rebate issues that are affecting North Carolina tobacco farmers that I want thrown out. But, I think as we move forward, I think this gets done. I think it's good for America. We avoid a massive tax hike. I think, this is going to be a very pro-growth bill or law as we move forward, and something that the American public desperately needs.
And, one of the biggest concerns at this point comes over the Sure, adding to the deficit in some cases, but also the cuts to Medicaid here. Senator Lisa Murkowski, for one, has said there are provisions in there that are very, very challenging, if not impossible, for us to implement. Those are her words. Do you expect changes to your current modifications, and are you concerned with where you all ended up on the Medicaid front?
Well, I think one thing we have to look at, and Omar, I think if you can just put one word as far as what's happened with this administration, it's about accountability. We haven't done this in 200
accountability for everyone, but
we haven't stepped back and said, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? We may have done it piecemeal here and there, but this has been an administrative push. Medicaid is a system. Omar, I still see a lot of patients primarily on Medicaid because I have to do it essentially pro bono. But there's a lot of...
No, you get paid when you see Medicaid patients. You just get paid a little less. And
going on within the Medicaid system that need to be dealt with. There's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. It really happens. I've seen it.
No, that shit's been audited, and it was like well below 1%. Like it was like any medium to large business has like a higher percentage of their time and energy dealing with fraud, waste, and abuse. But those were deep state audits of the system, I suppose. So
as a physician, we also, truth be told, we don't need all the folks who have come in the country illegally taking benefits away from those who actually fit eligibility benefits who are true Americans. We also have to look at a program that is expected to rise between 5 and 6% as we grow and grow and grow this. 52% of the births in the state of North Carolina are born to women on Medicaid.
Here we go. He's cracked the code.
That's a staggering statistic. If you think and you follow that down the road, there has to be something done fundamentally to stop this from occurring and growing at such a rate. So, yeah, maybe it'll be tinkered with and probably does.
He means to say poor people shouldn't be having kids.
In the end, this is just one isolated saver, Medicaid. It's obviously one that carries a lot of emotions, but there'll be other ones interested in the different categories as we work out something with the Senate.
And, you know, the long-term goals are obviously, you know, things that you want to push for. But it sounds like you have first-hand experience in dealing with the Medicaid system. North Carolina does have a higher than average enrollment in Medicaid just among all states than the average. Just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you don't necessarily worry that these Medicaid cuts are going to affect your constituents in a disproportionate way.
Well, sadly enough, we do have a lot of young women who are having children with no way of providing for them, no husband around to do with it.
Uh-oh. Friends, this feels a little, this being North Carolina and all, this feels like there's some subtext here that is like so close to the surface, actually, that it's poking through, not just ladies. I see people in the chat saying ladies, probably a specific demographic of women, especially when he said like absent fathers and stuff. I feel like I don't, in fact, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say, we all know what the fuck he's talking about.
It's a real problem nationwide. And this is a systemic issue, really started in 1965 with the Great Society programs. So continuing to throw more.
Fucking, come on, man. Just fucking say what you mean. Now you're like going back to the fucking 1965 and the 60s. What happened then? What other kind of shit was going on then?
Money at a system, at a program that really is not getting to the individuals that it needs to help. We have to have reform. No one's going to be thrown off the Medicaid system per se that we're not taking benefits away. We're slowing the growth down. We're also, people who are not eligible should not be eligible under those systems. And we have certain states that are putting people on Medicaid rolls. Those are in the country illegally. And if they do so, they'll have to pay more of their state share on the expansion population. But this is a program that is supposed to be for the impoverished, the child, the disabled, and the impoverished senior. Let's strengthen the program for the individuals who need it rather than giving it to individuals.
Wait a minute. Wait, what the fuck? Hold on. Just don't these people don't want you to have an abortion, and they don't want you to have the government help you if you're pregnant. Hold on. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't, I guess.
Could be back in the workforce. You know, Omar, there's estimates that anywhere that 3 to 7 million individuals since the pandemic who are of working age and ability have come out of the workforce. We need these individuals to come back in. Workers need them, get a job, get their health insurance through the job, become productive.
Oh, good. Oh, wait, what? No, that's not, that system doesn't work. That system is the reason that we're, as RFK Jr. says, the sickest nation. He says the sickest nation in the world. I think he probably, being charitable, means the sickest rich nation in the world.
Members of society, and that actually strengthens the Medicaid program.
There are some, though, that worry that even if they do qualify, that the changes in how they report work requirements could lead to gaps, just truly dealing with applications in government bureaucracy. But you know what? We'll see what happens and if any changes come on the Senate side. I want to ask you about tariffs before we go, because obviously we're seeing this new tariff threat from the President Trump on the EU, threatening about 50% or so. Obviously, the president said he's trying to get the best deal possible as part of this.
Sure.
But look, I mean, it's a strategy that's come with tariffs being on, scaled down, paused, threatened. I guess the question is clearly a negotiating tactic, but do you worry about losing the credibility behind those threats given what we've seen to this point?
You know, Omar, I really don't. If the American public truly understood how badly other countries have tariffed the United States, I mean, India, for example, 150, 200% against us prior to any of this tariff movement by the president, I think people would understand how our markets, our products, have been kept out of other countries. He is a negotiator. He starts from A, goes to Z, hopes to end up in the middle. And so this tactic has worked, but you have to be forceful. You have to be strong, really, to get a fair and balanced playing field for American exports as well as the imports that come into our country. You can either do it one of two ways. You can either do it militarily, which no one wants, or economically. And he's trying to do it economically, which is much better.
Whoa. So, like, if you want another country, and I don't know what he means when he says the tariffs are 200% India. I don't think that that's happening, at least not the way that he's describing it. But wouldn't a good negotiator be able to go in there and get that country to lower the tariff? Anyway, what the fuck ever. Here's how I think we should actually handle all of our political disagreements. Here's it's funny, on Down Ballot for a while, every week there was a story about people getting mad about pickleball in their rich neighborhoods. Famously, the one story where the people who were complaining about the pickleball court or the tennis courts being used for pickleball, they had a pickleball court in their own backyard. Anyway, this is how we should handle all of these disagreements, because you get your aggression out, and so far as I can tell, nobody gets hurt. The people in the background laughing. Oh man, that's exactly how I thought a pickleball fight would go. Jesus Christ. I'm glad nobody got hurt, because nobody there knew how to fight, like, at all. And that's good. I think it's better. A society where nobody knows how to fight is a better society. It's a safer society and a funnier society. We got a couple more things. We got Aaron Rodgers on the fucking Joe Rogan show. This is not great. It's not great. I feel sorry any football fans, I suppose.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
And saving billions of dollars of your tax money from going to fucking fun stupid ass programs.
It's not just
all over the world.
Programs. Some of it is like you don't even know where it went.
It's corruption too.
He said that some of the money, that there was billions of dollars that was written out with no receipts at all. He said if this was a private company, or excuse me, a public company, they would be delisted and all the executives be thrown in prison. But in the government, it's just like standard practice.
How come no? But you're believing like this is what fucking apartheid Clyde said
for Trump and the administration.
It's a good question. Well,
it's a good question. Don't worry, we're not going to endeavor to find the answer in any sort of meaningful way. What kind of fucking thing you think we're running here? Here we go. Now turbo cancer. Everybody, we got turbo cancer. The vaccines, they cause turbo cancer. What a fucking... We got one more. If you believe it, the thing after this that I have before red light is even dumber than this.
Yeah.
But there was no studies on whether or not women were getting damaged.
No studies got released.
Right. Yeah. And now there's some study that it's destroying their eggs.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. See if you can find that. I bet you can't.
That, cancers.
Well, this thing is totally true, and you just have to trust me. This is cult shit, right? Like, this is, look at the thing they're not telling you.
See if you can find the eggs thing.
Turbo cancers.
I know I saved the egg thing. I can definitely find
people
that
dropping, kids dropping.
Yeah, it's all very dark, dude. It really is, because the more you look, the more you find. It's
what about
not
the nanobots?
What about them? What are you thinking?
Well, I've heard some rumblings that that was kind of like a fringe conspiracy theory that there was some nanobots particles that were in the vaccine.
Yeah, I'm not buying into that. Unless I see more. Because
you got to have a line somewhere. Joe Rogan's like, I'll buy any of this other bullshit, but the nanobots, he's like, I ain't buying the nanobots. He's like, everything else, though, I'll fucking totally believe, just not the nanobots. So yeah, this is the first time for everything. And here's the last one. This isn't great. Ye or Kanye and his friends went to Broadway, but they didn't go there to see a play. Is this Broadway? This looks like Los Angeles. Hold on. Hollywood Walk of Fame, not Broadway. They didn't go there to see a play. They went there to do this.
How Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, all my nigga Nazi, nigga, how Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, all my niggas Nazi, nigga, how Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, nigga, how Hitler, all my niggas Nazi, nigga, how
Fucking show. That's the podcast. Not great. As time goes on, I become more and more disappointed and disenchanted with my country and with humanity. And it's because I try to cover, do media analysis on Sundays. So I don't know really what to say about it, but thanks everybody for hanging out during the podcast part. I know it's super fun when I'm not talking to chat, but maybe it's less fun when I am talking to chat. I don't know. If you're listening on the podcast, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts or whatever, thanks for tuning in. Consider checking us out live sometime. We are live Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. If you don't want to tune in live and hang out with my chat, which I think that's the wrong decision, you get the whole show, including Red Light, sent direct to your inbox the day after we record, one day before the podcast goes out, by going to patreon.com/Echoplex or eplex.store and signing up at the $5 level, also at eplex.store. If you buy basically anything, you can get a 1 month trial membership for free. So if you buy a hat or whatever, you can tick the box and get a 1 month trial membership to see if you feel like you get $5 a month worth of value out of getting the audio and video of the broadcast in its entirety sent to you. And I guess other than that, there's nothing really more to say except that I'm sorry, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about what I just presented to everybody, but things are not getting better. I've only got one thing for Red Light, but my voice does seem to be holding up, even if a little scratchy. So we might go a little bit late tonight. I know after all of that shit, I need a drink. So thanks everybody again for tuning in. As always, if you're watching live, just hang back for a second. It'll be real difficult because you're going to have to sit through this song. This is Boomers by Periscope, and I know y'all, what am I saying? Y'all absolutely love this song. I love this song. We'll be back with Red Light.